So of late, Microsoft has been pushing updates in Excel, both in the web and the one on the desktop. And in this video, we are going to be looking at 10 of these features that probably you may have missed. I'm particularly excited about feature number 7. Let me know in the comments below which was your most exciting feature and the one that you can apply immediately in your workflows. My name is William and I'm happy to have you today. If you like this video, please go ahead and share with your colleagues. Feature number 1 is not really a new feature. We have had drop downs before, but the main reason why it's a new addition is in the way that you create the drop downs in the new versions. So here we're being asked to create a drop down to select channels. Previously with old versions of Excel, you'd have to copy this list somewhere, probably paste it there, and then go ahead from the data tab and remove the duplicates from there. And therefore this becomes your source list for creating the drop downs. If you're using Office 365, you could also use the unique function to generate that unique list. You highlight Ctrl+Shift arrow down. When you press enter, you also get the same list that you'd use in this drop down. But that is not needed any longer. You can go ahead straight from the data tab. I've selected the cell where I want the drop down to be in. Then go to data tab. This is the data validation. If I click this icon, then I'm prompted to select. As you can see here, Excel allows you to type any value in any cell here, but in this case we want to limit the values to a drop down list, so I'll choose list. Then it will prompt me to feed it with the source. In this case, I simply go ahead and highlight the list of channels. I don't select the header, just the list of from the data, and press OK. Now if I come back to this cell, you'll notice now I get the unique list of items that are my distributors. I don't get the repetition, but this one is only available with Office 365 and probably any new versions that Microsoft releases soon. So if you don't have Office 365, you'd have to go this route where you have to generate the unique list and then use it for creating your drop down. So in that case, this will be your source. The next thing that Microsoft gave us in year 2024 is the ability to create checkboxes within an Excel cell. So here I have some data with my customers and some invoices that we raised for them. Some of these invoices probably have been paid, and therefore you want to put a comment here or a status whether it is paid or not. So it will be either paid or not paid. So if it is paid, we want to highlight with a certain color or checkbox. We want to put a checkbox, but if it is not paid, then we just leave it unchecked. So you highlight the range where you want the checkboxes to be. Then you go to Insert tab, you will see this option that says checkbox. So when I click checkbox, you can see immediately it puts that inside the cell, so you don't have to do from the developer tab to do some objects that are floating on top of the cell. So in this case, if this invoice has been paid, you can go ahead and put a check mark as such. If you press the space bar also, it will also put the check marks on what has been paid or not. Now what is more useful is that, as you can see inside the formula bar, if something is not checked, it's false, but if it is checked, then it's true. Then it means you can leverage these ones for you to do conditional formatting. I will highlight this range, including the data, but avoid the headers. Go to the Home tab, conditional formatting. I want to use new rule, and here I choose to use a formula to determine which cells to format. Then the formula will be typed down here, and then I will say if this cell, which is in E2, but remember, since you want this to go row by row, I don't have to lock the row, and therefore I'll press F4 to just leave the column locked. And then I say if it is equals to, you can either say 1 or true. Let me go with true, and I can say format, and the fill color can be maybe greenish, and then maybe the font color, maybe we make it italics. If I press OK and OK again, you can see anything that has been checked will always turn that color. If I uncheck, then the color disappears. Feature number 3 has to do with the way you do copy pasting. Now, in most cases, you are copying data from one section of your Excel to another area, but you don't want to transfer the formatting. So in that case, if you want to just copy and transfer only the values, in this case, we can copy this range, then go to column H here. The new shortcut that we've been given for paste special values is Ctrl+Shift+V, and if I press that, then you can see automatically it pastes without the formatting from the original. If you want that to also transfer the column widths, you can press Alt+ESW, and then that will transfer the column widths as well. Now, whenever you're doing formulas in Excel, it's always good to know how to audit your formulas. So one of the other new features we got is the ability to preview a certain part of our formula. So if I highlight this section of this formula, like that, you can see a preview, a small number just above that selection of what that part of the formula returns. If I select this section here again, you can see it returns number 4. Now that is helpful, and this one is called the value preview feature. And this one is helpful in case your formula returns an error, like in this case. You'd want to troubleshoot where the error is coming from because you believe the formula is correct. So if I highlight this section of my formula, you can see that one returns a number 5, and therefore it's not returning an error. But this part, if I highlight like that, you can see it returns the #NA, and therefore ultimately the entire formula returns #NA. That value preview feature is very important because it then tells me where to focus. So in this case, I can then check why the Xmatch, the second Xmatch formula, is returning an error, and it's simply because this cell here has been typed incorrectly, the word science. So I could copy this one and probably Ctrl+Shift+V, the one we've just seen, to correctly type it, and you can see the error has disappeared. So another feature that we've gotten is the ability to right click any place in your Excel and then try and search for a given command. Probably you know to do something, but you've forgotten where to locate that feature in Excel. For instance, maybe I want to highlight all the people that have grade C in this core column. And I know the feature that I need to use here is conditional formatting, but I'm not sure whether I should get it from the data tab. Is it the formulas tab? Is it the draw? Which section? I don't want to keep searching for it. Now, with this new feature, I can simply go ahead and right click. And when you right click, you'll see in this pop-up menu, there's an option here that says search the menus. And then you can search the feature that you're looking for. As you can see, as I type, I see the conditional formatting that I need to use, and then I can go ahead and highlight whatever I want to do. So if I say if it is equals to letter C, then I want to highlight. That's all I need to do. I can change the color here. And it is as simple as that. You can always right click if you forget a feature and search for it here. The next item we are going to cover in this tutorial is not really a feature, but these are new functions that Microsoft has released of late. There's one called Group By, and there's another one called Pivot By for Office 365 users. And these functions are actually suggestive of what they do. Ideally, they will help you to summarize your data either by grouping or creating a pivot table using a formula. So in terms of the signature or the syntax for these two formulas, they are more or less the same. The difference is that the pivot by allows you to also, tabulate your data column-wise apart from row-wise, what group by does. And therefore, we are going to look at the basic version of these two formulas. Let me know in the comments if you want us to go into details about these formulas, and I will create a video for it. In my opinion, these two functions should have just been combined into one. Just pivot by would have been sufficient. But for the sake of this lesson, let me show you what group by does. Now, assuming we want to create a summary by sales rep here, then we want to sum up the values column here by sales rep. So we can go ahead and do sum ifs or do pivot tables, but in this case we go ahead and do equals group by and then choose the values, in this case from C2, control shift arrow down to go to the last row. Then that's the row fields, what will be used to group by. Put a comma. The values is what you want to summarize. In this case, it's in column G. From G2, control shift arrow down. I press control backspace to go to the top where I'm doing the formula. Put a comma, and then here you have the option to choose the function, and these are the standard functions that you can use, to create the summaries. And these ones, the lambda and concat, the array to text, these ones can allow you to even summarize text functions, but in this case we're just gonna go with the sum function. The rest of the arguments in this syntax are optional, and in this video I don't want to go into details as much, so I just close the parentheses here and press enter. As you can see here, you get a summary of each of these sales reps and how they performed, and you also get a total down here. Now you have the option to control whether you want to do the total. If I just put a comma here, the next item here is to do with the field headers. In case you had highlighted the headers here, I can skip that one, but the next one is the one that allows you to control whether you have totals or not. So I'll choose 0 to show no totals, and then when I press enter, you can see the total row disappeared. So in a similar manner, we can also do pivot by. So if I come down here and I say equals pivot by, again, the first thing I need to choose is what goes into the rows. I can go ahead and choose sales rep just like before, control shift arrow down, put a comma, then the column fields is what you want to put across in the columns. So in this case, probably let me put the regions. I select from E2, control shift arrow down to the last row, then put a comma. The values is what you want to summarize. In this case, I can also select from G2, and then you can go ahead and choose the function that you want to choose. In this case, we can do sum again, and when I close the parentheses, I get a pivot table that is formula driven. So you can do more with these functions, but in this video, that's all we are gonna cover because we are highlighting these new features so that you don't miss them. In case you want us to go at length in these two formulas, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to do a new video on this. This next feature is a game changer according to me, and it's my favorite in this series. Ideally because it saves you a lot of time trying to control the dynamic array that should be used to plot your chart. So in this case, we are being told to get the total salary by department for the selected squad. So we have the squad column here, we have the department, we have the salary. So the squad here, we've seen previously that you can create a drop down by going from data validation, choose from a list, and then choose the squad from D4 downwards, and then press OK. So with this squad selected, the task is then to know the departments that fall within that squad. What is the total salary? And since we've already looked at the group by, we can go ahead and do that just below here. We can say equals group by. So we want to group by, in this case, the department. Control shift arrow down. Then the values will come from the salary column. Okay, put a comma. We are going to do a sum, then put a comma. We have not highlighted the field headers, and therefore I'll just ignore that one. I don't want the total, so I'll put a 0. But here I want it to be sorted probably in a certain way, but for now let me just skip that feature or that argument. The one that I want to focus on is this filter array, because I want to apply a filter because it is for the selected squad, and therefore I need to select the squad field here, control shift arrow down, and then put an equals and choose K5, which is the squad that we've just created. If I press enter now, I'll get the sum of the salary. So having gotten the breakdown by department for the selected squad, the next thing we want to do is to plot the chart based on this data. Usually we highlight the range of data that you want to plot, but in this case, because this one is based on a dynamic array formula, which is in this case the group by, it can be any other formula like the filter function. I just select the cell where the formula resides. In this case, it's in K8. I go to insert tab. I want to create, you can do a column, you can do a bar chart and so forth. And this is the fun part. If I change from this drop down to creatives, creatives has only 2 departments. You can see the chart automatically updates to show 2. If I change to another one like people ops, which has several, you can see it automatically adjusts because this one is a dynamic array formula and this one is a game changer, and it goes a long way in saving you time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Moving on, the next feature that Excel has given us is the ability to navigate from one sheet to another, especially if you have a lot of sheets. You can go ahead and right click here on the left and then choose the worksheet that you want to go to. That's not new to you probably, but the next thing that we have from the view tab is the ability, to choose the navigation. There's this option that says navigation. So if I click navigation, you'll get on the right side of your screen. Here you can always click and move to the next sheet where you want to go, and you can see it also comes with the objects that are in that worksheet, and you can choose which one you want to select. The next feature here is the ability to unhide multiple worksheets. Oh my, this one has been very helpful. Assuming you have several sheets which are hidden here, let me go ahead and quickly hide at random the various sheets here. And probably you want to then be able to unhide this one, the worksheets which have been hidden. So previously you had to right click, choose and hide, and then you select one sheet at a time and then you unhide. In this case, you can hold control and select multiple sheets, or you select shift and select all the sheets and then press OK. It will unhide them in one go. Now, before I cover the last feature here, please go ahead and press the subscribe button. It will go a long way in helping me to create awareness and to help many more in making their work more efficient in Excel. Thank you very much. So this one is fresh and hot. It's just been released recently. It's called the focus cell, and this one is available from the view tab. That's where you get this focus cell. If I click this focus cell option here, you can see it's a way to trace and track the current active cell where you're in. So this one leaves a visual cue on where you are, and I find this one very helpful. It also comes in handy. You can also change the color. If I click this drop down, you can choose the color you want to use. If I choose green, you can see that changes to green. Now if you don't want to highlight that, you just click the focus cell here and to disable that. But by default, that gets enabled when you're doing a find action here in Excel. For instance, if I am looking for the staff names and I press Ctrl F to find, then I type maybe any place where I have the word Eunice. If I click find next, you can see immediately it highlights for me. If I have another one, it will also do the same. So that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments which was your most favorable feature and which one you can adopt immediately. See you in the next video.